Hey everybody, welcome to The Elder of Rock. I am Stephen Elder, and today I'm going to talk about this album right here. Whoops. Spreading the Disease by Anthrax. This is their second studio album. It was the band's first to feature Joey Belladonna and Frank Bello, so it kind of like was the, what many consider to be the classic lineup, along with Scotty and Charlie Benanti and Dan Spitz. So after Anthrax finished touring in support of this album here, Fistful of Metal, um, they fired Neil Turbin. I guess there were some differences, varying differences, and depending on whose story you believe. But anyway, and then briefly, a guy named Matt Fallon replaced him, but he was quickly fired, I guess, because he lacked confidence in the studio. Now, producer Carl Kennedy, he suggested that Joey Belladonna audition, and Joey Belladonna was not familiar with thrash metal, and the band members weren't pleased with, I guess, Belladonna's musical background, maybe. And if you know him, that he has a Journey cover band and stuff, but yeah, he might not have be the typical background that you might look for in a particularly a thrash metal singer. Um, but they did hire him, and they booked a few shows, and I guess it went really well. Spreading the Disease was then recorded at Pyramid Sound Studios in Ithaca, New York, and with Carl Kennedy producing again. John Zazula was the executive producer. Um, and the album featured the single Madhouse, and a music video was produced, but it did not receive much airplay on MTV because at that time they believed the content was degrading to people with mental illness. And if you've seen the video, well, I don't know. I mean, yeah, they have some kind of supposedly mentally ill, kind of reminiscent a little bit of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, but maybe a bit more comedic. So, Spreading the Disease was the band's major label debut. It was released by Megaforce Island Records. It was the last Anthrax album to feature songwriting from Neil Turbin. He contributed some lyrics. I'll get to those songs in a second. And then also Dan Lilker um, contributed some music as well, even though he had already left the band. Um, and he would also have some songwriting on the next album, also Among the Living. But Turbin, though, wrote the lyrics, I guess, for Armed and Dangerous and Gung Ho, and then Lilker contributed to the music of those songs as well. And then John Zazula was originally he was giving the whole songwriting credit for Medusa, but he just wrote the lyrics to that, and the band wrote the music. Um, and then, but I guess also vocalist Matt Fallon, who was briefly in the band and left during recording sessions, he claimed in 2016 that he contributed lyrics, but he's not credited at all. But the band has not commented on that, whether those are true or not. And then after recording Spreading the Disease, guitarist Scott Ian and drummer Charlie Benanti, along with uh, Dan Lilker, who had joined Nuclear Assault by then, founded Stormtroopers of Death along with Billy Milano, and they recorded the crossover, I guess, crossover thrash album, you'd call it, Speak English or Die. So in Scott Ian's autobiography, I'm the Man, the story from that guy in Anthrax, or the story of that guy in Anthrax, get it right this time. The story of that guy from Anthrax. He said that the acronym in the song AIR stands for Adolescence in Red, and it was a word play of his on George Gershwin's Rhapsody in Blue. And AIR is a really a banger of an opener of an album. I remember putting this on. Me and my friends, we put this on. We hear, AI, the da 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 da. Oh, this is it's cool. It's heavy. It's kind of reminded me a little bit of the beginning of Fight Fire with Fire, acoustic-y intro. Um, and this is a little bit the same. They're building to something, and man, and then Charlie Benanti comes in with that snare roll, and then it just blazes out from there. And I just remember that's what a great opener, and we knew we were in for quite a ride with this album. And then also the album closer, Gung Ho, is they play a little bit. Let me see if I get this right. Symphony de Fanfares. I guess I'm making it too difficult. By Baroque composer Jean Joseph Moret, or you may know that better as, I think it anyways, the theme to Masterpiece Theater. I kind of recognize it for that. So anyway, other songs on this album that I really like are um, is The Enemy. I really like that song. It's really got a great, the way the drums are gated at the beginning, kind of like a Phil Collins, maybe if Phil Collins was playing a heavy metal song or produced a heavy metal song or whatever. He has that gate, and then it's just really cool, and it's got the great screams in the night. Aftershock I like as well. It opens side two, another great intro by Benanti, and just crushes it. It's got a great kind of pre-chorus shock. They're going shock, shock, and so that's just really great. Armed and Dangerous I've always liked as well, even when it was um, first it was a EP at first. They put that out before this album. I can kind of introduce Joey, and that was on there. But this version is slightly different than the one that was on that EP, because on the EP there's like this acoustic little intro that they kind of cut off. They kind of just a few seconds, but I kind of liked it. Kind of liked it really. And then what else? And that EP just also that had Raise Hell, and a version of them uh, doing God Save the Queen, and a couple of songs off Fistful of Metal. So it's a really cool EP. Go check it out. It's got Joey singing songs from Fistful of Metal, Metal Thrashing Mad. Maybe that's the only one. Maybe there's another one. I can't remember. And but anyway, so that Armed and Dangerous is slightly different, but I really like that song. I guess I always guess maybe it didn't quite fit as a single. I always thought maybe that would be a good single, but it does maybe get too thrashy, especially for at that time. Rock radio just wasn't ready for that, or Metallica. Metallica would later get on the radio, but anyway. So the cover art, I'll put the graphic up, but I don't know why I put the graphic up, and then it's always better than this. It was by Peter Corriston and Dave Heffernan. They worked on Led Zeppelin's Physical Graffiti, and Charlie Benanti came up with the concept of a man being investigated for radiation levels. So, Spreading the Disease was released on October 30th, 1985, and it received widespread acclaim by music critics. In a review by Howard Johnson of the British magazine Kerrang, he recommended the album as the best example of thrash metal, and equated to Anthrax to Metallica in terms of songwriting capability. And I agree, especially like how Metallica progressed songwriting wise from Kill 'Em All to Ride the Lightning. I would say this is the same with from Fistful of Metal to Spreading the Disease. And then my fellow contrarian, Martin Popoff, he called their album a shocking blast of noise from a long haired bunch of punks that knew their own business. And he praised the deceptively chaotic songcraft, and he liked Belladonna's vocals as well. So I got my album here. Like I said, well, there's the cover again. But well, we saw that was the back. Of course, I'll put the graphic. I can never get this right. So there's the back of it right there. There you go. Pictures of the band and all that. Live shots too, which is kind of cool. And then got my beat up. Funny drawing there, and you can see Billy Milano in there as well as is Sergeant D in here yet? I don't know if Sergeant D. There's Freddie. Oh, there's an SOD shirt. Yeah, I guess there is maybe something like that. And then also, hey, fun little thing, Anthrax order sheet. It's funny. You can buy merch at 1980s prices. Like you can get a white muscle shirt for, well, that's not really that. White muscle shirt for $12, a jersey for 14. Yeah, whatever. Okay. You get a bandana, you get a button. Oh, the days. So cool. All right, well there you go. So Anthrax, Spreading the Disease. Cool album. The other thing I want to say is that, yeah, the production. I don't really like the production on this album. It's really thin. I think the guitar. I mean, it's real bright. I should say. And the guitars are kind of thick, but they're really bright. The drums are kind of bright. There's a little bit of punch to the kick, and there's not a lot of low end to it. So, that is something that is corrected on their um, next album. So there you go, Among the Living. All right, thank you very much for watching. I've talked enough. The Elder of Rock. Thanks for watching.
The Elder of Rock.